Alrighty, good morning, friends. It is Thursday, January 2nd, 2025.
Thursday, January.
Let's go ahead and jump on back, take a look at what happened here on New Year's Eve. Now, despite the market being pretty choppy all throughout the first couple hours there, I think around 10:30, 10:40, I even warned you guys when the market looked like this that, probably was smart to be careful. Looked like they were just kind of taking all the bears out, going up higher, and taking all the bulls out, coming lower, just going back and forth, not doing anything. And shortly after I put that post in the chat room, we then started to get a nice directional move, of course, down to wherever we got to at the end of the day there. So let's look at the chop all throughout. This is New Year's Eve. And again, it just blows me away just how perfect everything worked out, even though it was chopping around. So first things first, we told our members that if the bulls could not get through this level right here, right around 77 to 78, that I was going to place a bet that the bears were going to come back and test the low of the day before. So if the bulls could not recover back through this level, I thought there was a good chance, good possibility we would come down all the way down to the previous daily low, right? And so look what happened here. The market opened, it rejected off that level once, twice, and three times. And then from there, we then held below VWAP, held below the 200 moving average, and began to sell off and then hold below our roadmap levels on the way down. So they came all the way down to the low of the day before, bounced off of it at the end of the day. And so that's why I say basically what happened on New Year's Eve was exactly what I warned you was going to happen, right? So let's take a look at some of these notable rotations in here, and then we'll jump into our preparation for this morning. So again, out of the open, some first notable things, some actionable trades you could take. Holding the 200 to the tick here, or our first roadmap level right here on the second test when we came down. Two great opportunities here with very, very limited risk. This right here, my friends, was a beautiful bullish divergence because we tested the low from earlier and then bounced out with a big bullish divergence holding the 200. So there was a great opportunity within 8 seconds of the open to buy, take almost no risk, and get yourself a 10-point bounce. Okay. If you missed that first buy, again, that second buy, again, to the tick, no risk, and you got yourself that 10-point, or in this case, a 9-point bounce up to 10 points up to the high of the day. We fell from there, again, not being able to appreciably hold above that main level, right? We pushed into it and failed. And on the pullback, what do you know? They come right to that next major roadmap level. Look at the bullish divergence as we were testing it right there. And then you get the next biggest bounce of the day, right back up to the high that we were just talking about out of the open. So great opportunity down there. If you bought on the pullback into Hopeful, you should have been able to get your scalp off, but then obviously not enough follow through for much more. So a lot of these roadmap levels, even the 200 here, as we were pulling back into it for a third time, held basically to the tick, and you got yourself a 2.5, 3-point bounce, and it came back. So opportunities to scalp off these levels all throughout the day, and then some of the more notable pushes coming right off the levels, right? So bear with me there for a second. So we held there, and then again, it just kind of meandered back and forth between basically this roadmap level at 60 and the major level I told you we wanted to see the bulls get above and hold above, right? So they came back down into this area at 60 again, kind of petered out. There was actually a really nice fade opportunity here off the back end of the fast moving average as the market was truly failing again for the second time off that area. So good opportunity to try a short from there. Again, did it go for 30, 40, 50 points? No, but you should have been able to get 5, 6, 7, 8 points in the direction and hopefully took profit just in front of our next roadmap level where you would have nailed the low of the move, right? So right down to there. And then even on this third bounce to come back up and test, again, very, very sloppy day. As they came up, watch what happened. held the back end of Hopel, held fast moving average, held the back end of the 200, held the fast moving average, held the back end of the VWAP, held the top end of the fast moving average, and our Hopel got up. It actually pulled back off that roadmap level. You should have been able to be in the money for a little bit there, but obviously it kept going. And then we pulled back and held that level to the tick for the push right back to the next one, right? So it's just kind of ping pong, or what's that game from back in the day? Pong or something, right? Just kind of right back and forth off all these levels, right? And is it going to work every time we test a level? No. But again, that's why I teach. You have areas where if it holds with limited risk. And as so, you should be able to set yourself up with some really good risk rewards on these trades, because I know I do. So again, kept chopping around. Then they pulled back and what do you know, held that 59.60 level again for another beautiful 10-point bounce right to the next roadmap level where they rejected and pulled back off of. So again, just ping pong back and forth between our roadmap levels. And then even on the next pullback, held that roadmap level for a double bottom, bounced out, and what do you know, found trouble at VWAP, right? I feel like every day it's just like I'm saying the same exact things. And then that's where we began the major sell-off. So for a while, it just kept meandering back and forth, probably taking the bulls and the bears out on either side. And then finally, we hold the back end of VWAP here, about 10 minutes to 11 Eastern, and then we start to get the sell-off. And so if we look at this sell-off, first of all, there's the bearish divergence off VWAP. So if you were over here looking for a little scalp and had a runner on there, you got in basically at the high of the day and you captured this whole sell-off. So that was kind of the first opportunity. Of course, at the time, we had not really broken one way or the other. So it was a risky trade, but still our setup off VWAP, bearish divergence. And if you caught that, that was the push. But if you missed it, what do you know? They basically came up to the back end of every roadmap level on the way down. We missed it here by like maybe a point or less. And then we got through the previous daily close, came right to it, to the mother effing tick, and then continued to fail to the lower levels. On the way down, the biggest bounce was right off the next roadmap level to the tick, right? They came right to 38.25 and then bounced right to the back end of the roadmap level at 50.75, right to it. I mean, just blows me away, right? So we hold that, and then they continue to sell off. They hold the 200 on the way down. And then here is that textbook that I've been talking about for the last couple of minutes. Another push down, push to the back end of that next roadmap level for the next push lower. So many good opportunities. You could have faded quite literally each level, and you should have gotten filled to the tick and then got the push, right? And then at the end of the day, or I'm sorry, we didn't make it there yet. So we get a pretty big bounce right around the next roadmap level. It wasn't to the tick in this instance. But if you really zoom in, they respected the level. They just had to come down and get through it and then take all those people out, right? So basically, what do you have? Hold the roadmap level to the tick for the little bounce. We get below it, and then hold below that roadmap level to probably fake out some of the bears. And then they get back through it, and then we hold it to the upside for the bounce, right? So I still have a lot of faith in that level. They just didn't hold it cleanly for the actual low, but they traded right around it and then bounced off of it for the bounce, right? And then came all the way back up and failed one tick in front of the next roadmap level. And then we continued to sell off from there. And let's just take a look at everything kind of zoomed out here, because the last hour or two of the day, last 2 hours of the day, I guess, was pretty sideways. But despite that, all you have to do is look at where every rotation happened, and it was right off the roadmap levels, either to the tick or within 2 or 3 ticks, right? So every little rotation here was right off our roadmap levels, every single one. You know, the most notable turns were right off the roadmap levels, and these levels have been on the chart for I don't know how long, right? Then it just kind of gets a little messy, but it holds. If you look at the general scheme here, gets through and then starts holding from here, only to reject, within 2 ticks off the VWAP again with a bearish divergence, right? That leads to the next pullback, which leads to the bounce off the roadmap level again. And then right at the end of the day, they come right to the back end of the roadmap level above that for another pullback. So many good opportunities on New Year's Eve to make money with limited risk. And, you know, there would be hundreds of circles on here if we circled every time we came right to a roadmap level and rotated right off of it, right? That brings us now here into the overnight session. Remember, obviously yesterday was New Year's Day. So now here we are on the day after New Year's, June 2nd, 2025. But last night, obviously the markets opened at the end of the day there for the Globex session. And if you look at what happened here, they came right back to test the major lows here, the low of New Year's Eve, right? So they came into it, of course, gave it a little push through. And now here we are pushing into a pretty nice, basically a 100-point bounce from there. And what do we see on the way up there? Let's take a look at some of the detail, and then we'll get into our pre-market for today. We do have a pretty good amount of time right now. So we reject right around the VWAP here, right? The first little push I'm not looking at, but we reject off VWAP, get down through the roadmap level, come up to it, kiss it, come down through the next roadmap level into that major low. And now as we come out, notice we came right to, we got through VWAP, pulled back to it, pushed right to the major roadmap level, got through it, rejected right off the next roadmap level to the tick, pulled back to the previous roadmap level that we rejected off of, push up through to the next one, hold FMA, gets a little messy in there, and then now here we've got the hold off the holy orange power level, double top, double bottom. Now we're pushing up to the high of the overnight session, right? I think we've got a little bit of a pullback in there now. I actually would have liked to have taken this long here just because I thought we had a pretty extreme push low on the RVI here as it was testing. I didn't take it, but still a beautiful little trade from 78 right to 85 for over 5 points, right? It looks like there's not a whole bunch of movement because the range on the chart is so wide right now, but that's still like a 6-7 point push right to the next expected resistance where I would have taken profit. So still great trade opportunity there. Great trade opportunity on the second test. And then as you can see on those bounces, they rejected off the back end of that next roadmap level. And on this pullback, what do you know? This right here, my friends, another beautiful opportunity. I just wasn't here because we were doing our review right off VWAP and the whole bolt to the tick and came right to the FMA and pulled back off of it. Right, so another great opportunity for a 5-point trade. This was actually almost a 10-point trade as we speak. Right, so great opportunities. You know, the reason I go through this stuff is not just to pat myself or ourselves on the back. It's to just show you these setups so that when we get to the open, you have fresh in your mind all of these beautiful opportunities that are going to present themselves throughout the day. Right, so let's go ahead and jump up to the higher time frames now. See if there's anything new to bring to the picture. I was going to say, what was with that?